the government sealed this tunnel. But something keeps moving inside. There's a place the government doesn't want you to know about. An abandoned tunnel, isolated from the world, locked with chains and warning signs. But every night, locals swear they hear something. Footsteps. Whispers. Movements that shouldn't exist. This isn't just another forgotten tunnel. It's a scar in the earth that holds deadly secrets, and what happened inside changed dozens of lives forever. You're about to discover why this place was sealed, and why, even after decades, no one dares approach after sunset. Imagine a concrete corridor nearly 2 miles long, carved into the bowels of a mountain. The damp walls constantly drip water, forming dark puddles on the uneven floor. The air is heavy, loaded with mold and something else, something you can't identify but makes your skin crawl instantly. This is the San Frediano Tunnel, built in 1938 in the Tuscany region of Italy. For decades, it served as an underground passage route for freight trains, connecting two valleys separated by steep mountains. But in 1976, without any official explanation, the Italian government ordered immediate closure. No train would pass through there anymore. No person should enter. The doors were welded shut, the accesses blocked with tons of concrete. And to this day, no one knows exactly what happened inside to justify such a radical isolation. The first strange reports began in 1973. Engineers conducting freight trains reported disturbing sensations while crossing the tunnel. Inexplicable pressure in the chest, difficulty breathing, sudden dizziness. Some swore they saw shadows moving on the walls, figures that shouldn't be there. Marco Benedetti, an experienced engineer with over 20 years in the profession, was one of the first to officially report the phenomenon. He described a terrifying experience during a nighttime crossing. He was halfway through the tunnel when the train's lights began to fail. In almost complete darkness, illuminated only by the dashboard instruments, Marco heard rhythmic banging on the sides of the locomotive. Banging that came from outside, but that was impossible, since the train was moving at over 40 miles per hour and the tunnel walls were yards away. When he finally emerged on the other side, Marco was pale, trembling, with blood running from his nose. He never returned to work that route again. But the real horror began in January of 1975. A maintenance crew of 5 men was sent to inspect structural problems in the tunnel. They entered in the morning, equipped with powerful flashlights, tools, and communication radios. Contact was lost after 45 minutes. The last words transmitted by the team leader, Giuseppe Moroni, were fragmented and desperate. "There's something here with us, we can't see clearly, it's getting hard to breathe, we need to get out now." Then, silence. Rescue teams were sent immediately. What they found in the depths of that tunnel was never fully revealed to the public. 3 of the 5 men were found unconscious about a mile from the entrance. They showed symptoms of severe intoxication, hallucinations, and permanent neurological damage. 2 were never found. They simply disappeared without a trace, as if they had been swallowed by the darkness. Investigators discovered something disturbing. The tunnel had been built crossing through an abandoned 19th-century mercury mine. During the excavation in 1938, workers accidentally ruptured underground pockets containing concentrated deposits of mercury vapor and other toxic gases accumulated for decades. Mercury, in its vaporized form, is a deadly neurological poison. It causes vivid hallucinations, loss of motor coordination, irreversible brain damage, and death. But mercury doesn't explain everything. Air samples collected after the 75 incident also revealed the presence of radon gas in alarming concentrations, along with volatile organic compounds of unknown origin. It was as if the tunnel breathed a lethal mixture of substances that created an environment not just toxic, but profoundly disturbing to any human nervous system. The local population began sharing stories that had been whispered for generations. According to the elders, before the tunnel was built, that mountain was known as the Devil's Mouth. During the Middle Ages, the area was avoided because shepherds who ventured too close to the natural caves frequently disappeared or returned changed, speaking in strange tongues, acting violently and irrationally. The old mercury mine, operated in the 19th century, had to be abandoned after a series of fatal accidents and reports of workers going insane inside the galleries. Over 50 men died there under circumstances never fully clarified. When the Italian government decided to build the railway tunnel decades later, they simply ignored the historical warnings. Modern engineering, they believed, could conquer any geological challenge. They were terribly wrong. After the 75 incident, scientific studies were conducted in secrecy. Geologists and toxicology experts discovered that the tunnel structure had inadvertently created a circulation system that concentrated toxic gases in certain areas, creating pockets of lethal air that moved slowly along the miles of extension. The combination of vaporized mercury, radioactive radon, and organic compounds formed an invisible fog that attacked the central nervous system within minutes. Victims began having intense auditory and visual hallucinations. Voices that didn't exist. Shadows that moved independently. The sensation of being followed, touched, watched by something malevolent. The human brain, under severe chemical attack, created its own demons. And inside that dark, isolated tunnel, where every sound amplified in a distorted way, the line between reality and hallucination simply disappeared. In March of 1976, the Italian government made the decision to seal the tunnel permanently. There would be no decontamination attempt. There would be no removal of toxic gases. The cost would be prohibitive and the risk, unacceptable. Both entrances were blocked with reinforced concrete structures 10 feet thick. Warning signs were installed in Italian, English, and German, contaminated area. Entry prohibited. Risk of death. The railway was diverted through a longer alternative route. Officially, the San Frediano Tunnel ceased to exist. But something was left behind in that darkness. Something that didn't need air to exist. In the following years, nearby residents began reporting strange phenomena. Sounds coming from the sealed entrances. Metallic echoes, as if something heavy was being dragged inside. Ground vibrations during the night. Some claimed to see lights flickering through small cracks in the concrete, lights that shouldn't exist because there was no electricity in the abandoned tunnel. In 1982, a group of young adventurers tried to break through one of the entrances using sledgehammers and climbing equipment. They managed to create a small opening, enough for one of them, a 19-year-old boy named Luca Ferretti, to stick his head and a flashlight inside. He remained motionless for almost 30 seconds, observing something his friends couldn't see. When he finally pulled back, he was crying uncontrollably, trembling from head to toe. He refused to talk about what he saw. 3 months later, Luca was admitted to a psychiatric institution with a diagnosis of acute schizophrenia and never regained full lucidity. Recent studies suggest the tunnel may be becoming even more dangerous over time. The concrete structure, after almost 5 decades, is beginning to show cracks. Geologists warn that natural tectonic movements in the region could eventually compromise the integrity of the seals, allowing accumulated toxic gases to escape into the external environment. If this happens, entire communities nearby will be at risk. Vaporized mercury could contaminate soil and groundwater. Radon could infiltrate houses built over underground galleries connected to the tunnel. Local authorities publicly minimize the danger, but internal documents reveal that emergency evacuation plans have been secretly drawn up. The uncomfortable truth is that no one knows exactly how much toxic gas is trapped inside, nor how long the concrete barriers will be able to contain it. There's something deeply disturbing about the idea of a space that was simply abandoned, sealed, and forgotten, but that remains alive somehow. The San Frediano Tunnel isn't just a deteriorated physical structure. It's a testament to how human arrogance can create deadly traps by ignoring nature's warnings and history. It's a reminder that some places hold wounds that never fully heal, poisons that don't dissipate over time, darkness that cannot be illuminated. And as long as those tons of concrete keep the secrets locked away, as long as the deadly gases continue circulating through those 2 miles of underground void, the tunnel will remain as a scar on the earth, a silent warning to anyone who approaches. Today, if you visit the Tuscany region where the tunnel is located, you'll find only the time-worn concrete structures, surrounded by rusted chains and faded signs. Vegetation has grown around it, as if nature were trying to hide that wound. But local residents still avoid passing by there after nightfall. They still tell stories of strange sounds, inexplicable lights, an oppressive sensation that makes the heart race for no apparent reason. And on the quietest nights, they say it's possible to hear echoes coming from the depths, as if something inside still moved, still breathed, still waited patiently for someone to break the seals and release what has been imprisoned for so long. The question that remains is simple and terrifying: how many other places like this exist around the world? How many tunnels, mines, underground structures have been simply abandoned, sealed, and forgotten, keeping their own toxic secrets? And most importantly, how long will the barriers we built to protect ourselves from what we created be able to resist? The San Frediano Tunnel teaches us that some mistakes cannot be undone, only locked away, and we hope they never escape. But hope is not a reliable strategy when dealing with invisible poisons and darkness that doesn't die. Think about this the next time you pass an abandoned place, marked with faded warning signs. Ask yourself what's really being kept on the other side of those walls. And silently give thanks that you don't have to find out personally.